Behind all their distance, withdrawal, and apparent indifference is someone who's absolutely terrified of how much you mean to them. They're not pulling away because they don't care. They're running because they care so intensely it feels like it might destroy their carefully constructed psychological safety. Every cold shoulder and emotional retreat is actually evidence of just how deeply you've affected them and how scared they are of that power you have over their heart. They're terrified of their own feelings. The intensity of their emotions for you is completely overwhelming their nervous system in ways they've never experienced before. You've awakened feelings so powerful they don't know how to process, contain, or express them without feeling like they're losing control of their entire emotional landscape. Their withdrawal is their attempt to regulate feelings that feel too big for their psychological container. They're scared that if they let themselves feel everything they actually feel for you, they'll become someone they don't recognize, someone vulnerable, dependent, and emotionally exposed in ways that conflict with their entire identity. The depth of their love for you threatens to dismantle every defense mechanism they've spent years perfecting. This fear of their own emotional intensity makes them pull back just when they want to get closer, creating the confusing hot-cold dynamic that makes you question whether they care at all. Their distance is actually their attempt to manage caring too much rather than not caring enough. They're scared you'll leave them. Underneath their apparent emotional invincibility is someone who's absolutely terrified that if they show you how much you mean to them, you'll eventually realize you can do better and leave them for someone more worthy. Their withdrawal is preemptive self-protection against the abandonment they're convinced is inevitable. They believe that keeping you at arm's length protects them from the devastating pain they would feel if they invested completely and then lost you anyway. It feels safer to maintain distance than to risk the total annihilation that losing you after giving you everything would create. This abandonment terror makes them sabotage their own happiness by pushing away exactly what they want most. They're so afraid of being left that they create the very distance that might actually cause you to leave, turning their fear into a self-fulfilling prophecy. They're overwhelmed by vulnerability. Being truly close to you would require them to drop every emotional wall and protective facade they've relied on for psychological survival. The thought of being completely seen, known, and potentially judged by someone who matters this much feels more terrifying than staying alone and protected. They're scared that if you see their authentic self, their wounds, insecurities, and emotional neediness, you'll be disappointed or disgusted by who they really are underneath their carefully maintained image. Vulnerability feels like emotional nakedness in front of someone who could destroy them with rejection. This vulnerability terror keeps them trapped between wanting intimacy and fearing the exposure that intimacy requires. They want to be close to you but can't handle the emotional nudity that genuine closeness demands. They're fighting their need for you. They've recognized that they need you in ways that conflict with their self-image as someone who doesn't need anyone. This recognition of dependence feels threatening to their sense of identity and autonomy, making them pull away to prove to themselves that they can function without you. The internal war between needing you and needing to maintain their independence creates the push-pull behavior that makes them seem uncertain about their feelings. They're not uncertain about caring. They're uncertain about whether they can handle caring this much. They're scared that admitting how much they need you would make them weak, pathetic, or lose their sense of self in the relationship. Their distance is their attempt to maintain their identity while managing feelings that threaten to completely transform who they are. They're not done. They're regrouping. All their withdrawal, silence, and apparent disinterest is actually their way of trying to figure out how to love you without losing themselves in the process. They're not done with you. They're trying to find a way to be with you that doesn't feel like psychological suicide. Their distance is evidence of how much you matter to them, not how little. They're scared because they've never loved anyone this much before, and they don't know how to handle feelings this powerful without it destroying their sense of self-protection and emotional safety.